The morning sunlight spilled gently through the curtains, illuminating the small apartment. David, a single dad, quietly moved around the kitchen, making breakfast. His 7-year-old son, Liam, was still asleep, curled up under a blanket, clutching his favorite toy. The aroma of pancakes filled the air, a simple routine in a life that had grown heavy with responsibility yet lightened by the love between father and son. David glanced at the clock. Time was slipping away, as it always did, and today was the day he would meet the billionaire's family. He wasn't sure what to expect. A wealthy woman had reached out to him after hearing about his son's courage and resilience in the face of illness, but it wasn't money that had drawn her attention, it was hope. Hope for her daughter, Emma, who had been confined to a wheelchair after a tragic accident left her with a condition no doctor seemed able to treat. David finished plating the pancakes, careful to make them just the way Liam liked, with a little extra syrup. Sitting down across from his son, he smiled, trying to hide the nervous tension that had been building in his chest for weeks. "Big day today," he said softly, watching Liam rub his eyes and yawn. "You excited to meet someone new?" Liam nodded, his small hand reaching for the plate. "Will she be nice, Dad?" "She's more than nice, buddy. She's special, and I think you'll like her." David's mind wandered back to the message he had received from Emma's mother, Victoria Sterling. It was formal, yet desperate, filled with a kind of raw sincerity he couldn't ignore. The note detailed Emma's condition, explaining how her disability had affected not only her body but her spirit. Doctors had done all they could, yet she remained trapped in her own limitations. Victoria's words had resonated with David because he understood struggle. He knew what it meant to fight for a child's happiness, to stretch every resource, to turn impossibility into hope. After breakfast, David dressed Liam and packed the small bag with his son's favorite toys and snacks. They arrived at the Sterling estate mid-morning. The driveway stretched like a golden ribbon through manicured gardens, and the mansion itself seemed almost unreal, with tall windows that reflected the bright sky. A butler greeted them politely and guided them inside, leading them through grand halls that smelled faintly of roses and polished wood. Emma was waiting in the sitting room. She looked fragile yet regal, her hair tied back neatly and her eyes reflecting a quiet melancholy. She smiled faintly at David and Liam as they entered. "Hello," David said softly, extending a hand, though he felt awkward in the opulence surrounding him. Liam waved shyly, holding his father's hand tightly. Victoria appeared behind Emma, her expression a mixture of hope and anxiety. "Thank you for coming," she said, her voice trembling slightly. I don't know if anyone can help her anymore." David shook his head gently. "I don't know about miracles," he admitted. "But I do know children. And sometimes, that's enough to make a difference." Emma's eyes brightened slightly, curiosity sparking behind the veil of her cautious smile. David knelt beside her wheelchair, speaking gently. "Hey Emma, I'm David, and this is Liam. We're going to try something together, okay?" Victoria's eyes filled with tears, the weight of hope and fear battling within her. I don't want her to be disappointed," she whispered. David offered a reassuring smile. "She won't be. Not if we do this together." Over the next few hours, David worked carefully with Emma, explaining exercises and movements that were tailored to her abilities. Liam joined in, giggling as he tried to follow instructions, making Emma laugh despite her hesitation. The room, initially tense with anticipation, began to fill with small moments of joy. David noticed the smallest changes first, a twitch of muscle here, a flex of her fingers there. Encouraged, he guided her through more movements, always mindful of her limits, always celebrating every tiny success. Emma's eyes sparkled more with each attempt, her laughter ringing like a bell that had been silent for far too long. Victoria watched, tears streaming down her face, unable to speak, as if watching a miracle unfold before her eyes. Every time Emma moved more than she had before, she felt her heart lift with hope she hadn't dared to feel in months. By late afternoon, something remarkable happened. With David supporting her gently, Emma managed to stand, her legs trembling but strong. Liam clapped excitedly, shouting, "You did it! You're standing!" Emma's face lit up with a mixture of shock and delight, tears forming in her eyes. Victoria rushed forward, embracing her daughter tightly. "Oh my God, Emma, you did it! You really did it!" she cried. David felt a lump in his throat as he watched the scene. It wasn't just about standing. It was about reclaiming independence, about giving a child back a piece of life that had been stolen by tragedy. Emma looked at him, her gratitude unspoken but deep, reaching straight into his heart. Victoria stepped back, wiping her tears. "I don't know how to thank you," she said, her voice shaking. You've given her life again." David shook his head humbly. "I didn't do it alone. Emma did this herself. I just helped her believe she could." Liam hugged Emma's hand tightly. "See, I told you we could do it together," he said, his innocent excitement filling the room with warmth. The Sterling family insisted that David and Liam stay for dinner. The conversation flowed easily, laughter echoing through the grand dining room. Victoria shared stories of Emma's childhood, David talked about Liam's favorite games, and Emma, for the first time in months, spoke freely, sharing her dreams and hopes. As the evening sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden light across the room, Victoria pulled David aside. "I know this is unusual," she began, "but I want to offer you something. Not just for what you've done today, but for your courage, your heart, everything. Anything you want, we'll make it possible." David hesitated. He had never wanted wealth or recognition. He had lived a life of quiet struggle, finding joy in small moments with Liam. Yet he realized that he could use this opportunity to help others like himself, children who needed more than medicine, who needed hope and love. I want to help kids like Emma," he said finally. "I want to give them the chance to find their strength, just like she did today." Victoria nodded, understanding immediately. "Then we'll do it together. We can create programs, therapies, anything that can make a difference." That night, David and Liam left the estate with hearts full of hope. Emma waved from the window, a smile on her face that David would never forget. He knew that life would never be the same, not just for Emma, but for him and Liam as well. In the following weeks, Emma's progress continued. Each day brought new milestones, a few more steps without support, stronger arm movements, laughter that filled the Sterling mansion. David visited regularly, guiding and encouraging her, always careful to celebrate the small victories. Victoria often called David late at night, her voice thick with emotion. "I can't believe this," she said one evening. "I was ready to give up, but you've brought my daughter back to life." David smiled softly into the phone. "She never lost her life, Victoria. She just needed someone to remind her of her strength." The bond between the families grew stronger. Liam and Emma became inseparable, two children from very different worlds finding friendship and joy in each other's company. David and Victoria, too, shared a mutual respect and gratitude, though neither dared to rush the friendship into anything more. It was enough to watch Emma thrive. Months later, Emma walked confidently across the room, unsupported for the first time. David and Liam cheered loudly, tears streaming down their faces. Victoria rushed forward, hugging her daughter tightly, sobbing with relief and joy. "You did it, Emma. You really did it." Emma looked at David, her eyes shining. "Thank you for believing in me," she whispered. David knelt beside her, holding her hands. "I only believed what I could already see, how strong you really are." That night, as David tucked Liam into bed, his son whispered, "Dad, we really helped her, didn't we?" David kissed the top of his son's head. "Yes, buddy, we really did." Outside, the stars twinkled in the clear night sky. Inside, hope had been restored, hearts had been healed, and a miracle had been made real. Not through wealth, not through fame, but through courage, compassion, and unwavering belief in the impossible. For David, it was the beginning of a new chapter, a life not only of survival but of purpose, a life that could change the world, one child at a time. And for Emma, it was the start of a life she had almost thought lost, now filled with possibility, laughter, and the promise of every dream she had ever held. Tears of gratitude and joy flowed freely that night, as Victoria held Emma close, whispering words of love, while David watched from the doorway, smiling quietly. He knew that miracles weren't always grand gestures, they were the small, persistent acts of belief, love, and hope. And today, they had all witnessed one together. The bond between the families was sealed not by wealth or status but by shared humanity, and in that connection, a single dad had given a billionaire's daughter the greatest gift of all. A chance to stand, a chance to live, and a chance to believe in herself once more.